That's also what we try to include for our community, this transparency. Of course, we want to sell things. That's not a secret. But we want to do it in a nice way. And our first goal is to inform the people, to be connected with the people. And the second or maybe third goal is then to buy, to sell things and to promote the things and products.
Welcome to Wires and Cross, the podcast where we untangle the world of affiliate and digital marketing, produced by Clickwire. I'm your host, Luisa, and today we have an awesome episode planned for you guys. Now, to start the year on the right track, we're going to begin with a super fun topic, which is creative content. And we brought back Maren and Lotte from Sneakerjager to let us know a little bit about their day-to-day and what they do in terms of creative writing. It was a very awesome conversation that we have as well, because working in marketing, if you are too much in the number side or in the trend side, it's harder for you to get into the groove of writing as much. So then it was very awesome to be with them and have them on the podcast and discuss about what they do and what do they think are the best practices to improve your creative content writing. I hope you guys enjoy this new episode of Wires and Cross, first one of 2024. And thank you so much to all for listening and enjoy. And welcome to another episode of Wires and Cross. And this is a room right now full of ladies, lady power today. And we have Lotte and Maren. We've had Maren before on the podcast, but now it's Lotte's first time.
Hi.
So welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming so early in the morning. We're going to talk a little bit about creative content, because we talked a lot in the podcast about, just do this super exciting, connect and all this and put this word here and there. But if you don't know how to make the content creative and just fun for people to read, then it makes no sense, all the technical things that you can do. And it seems you guys were first Sneakerjagers that uses affiliate links on it. I thought it would be a very nice idea for you guys to tell us a little bit more about how we can put or how we can include these links to make it more interesting and easier for clients to click on it and then profit your business, right? And also, obviously, what is it that you do to make the content so fun, or what are your tips and tricks for all of this? First of all, for Lotte, because it's your first time, would you like to tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Yes, I am Lotte. I'm 22 years old and I work at Sneakerjagers as a writer. I've studied journalism and currently I'm focusing on writing news items for Sneakerjagers, doing a lot of interviews. And after 2 years, I'm still having fun with it. So that's something good, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And then, Maren, do you want to reintroduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure, as always. I'm Maren. I'm international content manager at Sneakerjagers. So I'm also responsible for leading the writing team that Lotte is part of. And I'm also creating content myself from time to time and supporting the team with content. And I think it's kind of fun because Lotte and I are both more home in the journalism corner, and not so much in the marketing corner. So for us, it was also a bit of a challenge to combine these two things. So I think maybe we have some input for you guys on this topic as well.
Yeah, for sure. Can you lead us a little bit about how is it your day-to-day and how you kind of like choose the topics on what to write?
Well, I think the sneaker industry is quite moving. Every day are new sneakers dropping, new collaborations, new fun things. So I think there are always enough subjects. And also looking at the Dutch sneaker scene, you have always people you can interview or connect with and write about that. So I think there are enough topics. It's just how do you stay on top of them and how do you say it, diverse yourself from other brands and from other platforms with unique content. I think that's a bit of the struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
And how do you stay original? Those kind of topics.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit like what we at Sneakerjagers are trying to do is be very close to the community, talk about the culture behind sneakers, the whole scene, as Lotte just said, talking to interesting people from the scene, to interesting brands, also upcoming brands. But of course, we also need to sell stuff where the marketing part comes in. And to combine those two things is basically what we're trying to do at Sneakerjagers with different types of topics as well and different types of content.
Yeah.
Because especially like I'm noticing right now that I'm able to work a little bit more on the creative side. That is difficult to not make it sound like I'm just trying to sell you stuff, and then that it sounds genuine to the community, which at the end of the day is the people that we're trying to keep on our side, to being like, yeah, no, like, first of all, I'm here to let you know about the things that we like and we have in common. And then if you like it, then buy stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm struggling with quite often, because I'm from the journalism side.
Yeah.
It's like a no-go to sell things in your articles, because
for sure.
you need to be factual and you need to be on top of the facts, instead of, hi, this sneaker is amazing, you should buy it. So that was sometimes with Maren as well. Like I said, I was struggling with, but now I find ways to stay true to myself, but also have a nice hint, like, hi, you can also buy the sneaker.
Nice.
But that's sometimes a bit where you play with a bit, I think, and give it your own touch.
Yeah. I would say, at Sneakerjagers we have different types of content. A couple of things are really in the marketing direction, and we are going to do like top 10, buy here, click here, check out this sale, whatever. That's definitely part of our job. But I think what's more interesting for Lotte and me is creating content around that, as we said, interviews or the culture or whatever, but still integrating in this, let's call it quality content, a couple of affiliate links in a bit of a subtle way, to give people the chance anyway to shop the sneakers that we are talking about, or to get more information about the collection that we're talking about, or the brand or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is how we try to have very nice quality content that people like to read, that is fun to read, but also where you could click on things if you wanted to, and buy things if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah, so with that into consideration, let's talk a little bit about the best practices that you can do to then not cross this line of like being super biased for my product, but yet still writing a really good piece of content. What are the best practices that you will think?
I think Sneakerjagers has built, like, we have quite a big platform as well, so we have a lot of leverage to give. And I think it's because of that you have, like, you're transparent about the things you write about. So I think we can also give sometimes a bit of our opinions in the news articles that we're writing. Like, if another Air Max 1 is releasing, yet again, you can also play with that a bit. So you're just not, hi, this is the best sneaker ever, you should buy it, but also like, hi, here we are again with another Air Max 1 release. And if there's a ridiculous shoe dropping, you can also refrain a little bit. Yeah. So just staying a bit true to, we also know that there's sometimes weird sneakers releasing. You can also embed that in the article as well, that you're not just praising everything that comes out, because I think then you're losing your quality a bit.
Yeah, and you're also not being transparent.
Exactly. And I think that's the real key to our platform.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's also what we try to include for our community, this transparency, or sort of transparency. Of course, we want to sell things. That's not a secret. But we want to do it in a nice way. And our first goal is to inform the people, to be connected with the people. And the second or maybe third goal is then to sell things and to promote things and products like sneakers or streetwear. Yeah. But what we try and do at Sneakerjagers with the content we do is basically two different things. We try to place the affiliate links in a bit of a strategic way within the content that we're doing. Yeah. And we also try to have a sort of call to action so that it's still clear, hey, here you can buy things. This is where you get the shoe. But that's not the purpose of the whole article or the whole content. Purpose is more to explain something to people, talk about history, about maybe culture aspects of the whole thing. And then in a bit of a subtle way, as I said before, also integrate the link. So maybe Lotte, in this case, is talking about a nice sneaker, doing a bit of an introduction, explaining maybe the technology or whatever. And then in the end, of course, you can say, hey, now that you know so much about the sneaker, maybe you're interested to buy it, then you could click here. But a bit in a, not like, buy it here, you have to buy it, alarm, 20 buttons and stuff, exactly. Not too much in your face. But of course, there are certain tools, of course, to a bit underline those affiliate links. We work, for example, at Sneakerjagers, we work with buttons a lot, but also with banners and images that are linked so people can click on and then buy things. Or we integrate links within the text. But again, in a bit of a subtle way. For example, what Lotte said, talking about releases, Air Max 1 is very famous this year. So what we're doing is talking about Air Max 1 releases every day, kind of. So we try to still keep it interesting and make it a bit for everyone to read, that it stays fun to read for our community.
Yeah.
But then we also say something like, hey, here's the information about the shoe. This is all you need to know. But maybe you're interested in checking our release calendar because there you get more information or other sneaker releases or whatever. And then you have an affiliate link integrated into your information, but not in your face, basically.
Yeah, I like that a lot because then, I feel like in a way you're earning the commission, right?
Yeah.
You're earning the purchase. It's not coming out of just thin air, but it's like well earned as well. So that's super interesting to know. I want to know in terms of, because we've had this discussion before as well on how we work together with the SEO team and the content team about how you guys as writers go about choosing the words that you think work best. Because as someone that works on SEO, I can tell you, put this, and this because it's what the number tells me. But it's different to what the community is actually wanting or what it sounds better. How do you guys go about choosing those specific words or that specific, hook that will be attractive for the article that you will be like, yeah, people will like this?
Well, I think if it's me personally, I think because we're both, of course, present in the sneaker community and you write every day about sneakers, you also know a bit about what's happening and what's popping and what's popping. What's popping? What's happening?
New word popping.
So you already know a bit like, okay, if you're writing about sneaker and you know that model had like a fun collab in the last 2 weeks, you can embed that as well, and that gets more clicks even more. So I think you already know a bit like what's happening and what can I include in that as well. But I think combining those terms with SEO terms that we get from you guys, I think you get a combination that's really, really good.
Yeah, nice.
Not sure if I have something smart to add here. I think Lotte described it very well. It's a bit of a balance also to sort these things
but it
out.
makes sense as well because if you write an article that is just fully SEO loaded, it sounds like a robot just wrote that thing, and it's very how was the word that I'm looking for? It's like predictable.
Yeah.
And right now with the new Google update and all of this, predictability is not what users like anymore because I can find the top 10 whatever Pepito is trying to tell me, but what is the beauty of it? What makes it so cool that I'll be like, yeah, I will go first to this instead of going to the other 10 that look exactly the same.
Yeah, and that's also because you like, I like sneakers as well. So when I'm writing it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I find this interesting. So you can also more adapt into your community as well because you're part of the community that you're writing for. The things I want to read are the things that I embed in my articles because I know people will like that more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Totally agree. I think this is also a bit of an advantage that we have in our job at the moment, that we first of all like the product that we are talking about and also are both kind of part of the scene a bit. But it's also, of course, sneakers and streetwear that's not, the topic is not too heavy, you know? We're not talking about things that, how do I say that nicely, to not make sneakers too small, but it's not what's changing the world, you know, talking about those things. And it's not rocket science or whatever. But still, there's a lot behind sneakers and there's a lot of history, a lot of culture, and also a lot of technologies. And now, of course, with sustainability, we have also more like heavy topics, interesting topics around sneakers. Yeah. It's not just about, hey, Air Force One and white are cool. It's a bit more than that. And I think that's kind of easy for us to do and to implement because it's a fun job actually.
Yeah,
to talk about
to
those
play
things.
Play a bit with it. And,
yeah.
I have a question regarding the transparency that you mentioned earlier, because I also really appreciate how you don't really hype up every single sneaker that's out there, but you have an opinion and you're honest about it and vocal about it. But how do you decide which sneaker to say that? Of course, for example, if you don't like a sneaker, how do you say that to your audience without sounding rude or unprofessional? Or of course, it's not just you and Maren that write articles, there's more people, so obviously not everybody likes all sneakers, but also not everybody hates that one sneaker. So how do you manage that?
Well, I think you have to be honest first of all, because otherwise you will lose credibility, and that's why for me it's real important to be still transparent about it. According to releases, we all, of course, have different tastes as well, and the sneaker community as well. So we don't implement our opinions in every article, but sometimes there are, I don't know, you just have a feeling for it or something. sometimes there are just crazy releases, and everybody knows like what the hell's going on here. Kerwin Frost with Adidas, everybody knows that those sneakers are just weird, and you can say that and still like, yo, if it's for you, then great job. But we're not saying like, hey, this sneaker is ugly, but you should still buy it, because then of course nobody's going to buy it. But I think in subtle ways you can still be like, yet another Air Max 1 release, we hadn't have enough of them. Like you can play with that, because the audience also feels the same about it. But of course you're not saying like, hi, this sneaker is ugly, because I like sneakers that maybe Maren doesn't like, or other way around. Yeah. But I think with some releases or some items or some topics, you can figure a bit out like, okay, everybody knows that this is, you have question marks with this. And you can play with that a bit, because I think if you're just praising everything that comes out, you're just losing credibility. And I think that's something real bad.
Yeah. Did you guys wrote... Sorry, I'll get into it, because I'm just curious about it. Did you guys wrote any articles about the McDonald's on Crocs?
I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
Because I'm just very curious about that one specifically, because it can cause like, of course, you have to still be a little bit unbiased about it, but you have to give an opinion on it. So I think that's a good part for you, maybe to give us an example of what you guys did.
I think actually what Lotte just said, it's a bit about playing with words and being careful with what you're saying and how you say it. And this is actually also, I think you will agree, what makes journalism fun, to play around with those things. It's with let's say, difficult topics, or topics where you have to be careful with what you're saying. Yes. I think it's a good tip for you guys out there to stick to facts and information. You can still make them sound nice, but it's not what Lotte just said, like, I don't like it because it's red and my favorite color is yellow. That's, of course, not a fact, not information. People can't work with that. But if you say, for example, this sneaker has a lot of colors, or this Crocs has a lot, Crocs McDonald's sneaker has a lot of buttons, it's a very interesting design, you could say. Yeah. And not it's a very ugly design, or it's a very overloaded design. You can play a bit with words. But also, I think personally, sneakers, especially those, let's call them crazy collaborations in this case, are sort of art. And I think art is also something that you can't there's not one opinion about it, of course.
Yeah, precisely.
So maybe I think, okay, I don't like Crocs at all. I also don't like McDonald's. For me, it's one of the worst combinations maybe. But other people might like it and see the art behind it. And I can also see the thoughts behind it, you know. There are people, designers, organizing that and making, thinking about the design. It's not that they just pull it out there. It's really more to it than we see in the end with the product.
Yeah, for sure.
So also for the McDonald's Crocs collection, we stuck a lot to the facts. And we said, hey, this is how they look like, this is the material, this is how they were made of, this is what they had in mind while creating this collaboration. But still, I think we also a bit mentioned, maybe this is a bit of a crazy collaboration for some people, and maybe some people have different opinion about Crocs. We know that, and we also made that transparent. But still, you have to see the product in the end and the work that's behind it, and still also think about people that might like it. So.
It's also, we did a topic this year, I think. It's called like why people are liking ugly sneakers more and more. Because ugly sneakers are like a big trend this year. If you look at, of course, the Crocs thingies, but also crazy colorways with brown, purple, yellow in it.
Yeah, that is.
But there's a market for that as well. And I think me, myself, I like ugly sneakers. So I think you can also play with it a bit. And I think that's what makes it fun. And I think with collaborations such as Crocs and Shrek, I think they also did one with cars, of course.
Yeah.
I think
love the one with cars.
Yeah,
I like my queen.
Yeah, but I think also the design the thinking behind the design is, of course, is as well like, okay, we're going to make a crazy design. So I think it's fair of us to call them crazy because, of course, they're crazy. Sure. And just like the big red boots from Mischief, it's a crazy design, and we can call it crazy because that was the thought behind it. Yeah. You can say it's a really sleek design you can wear with your trousers, but it's not. And that's the idea behind the design, in my opinion. So
for sure,
I think you can play around with that as well.
I remember when I was in fashion school, one of my professors says, in fashion, everything has been created. You cannot make a pant with 3 legs. You know what I mean? So what would you do as a designer to make it stand out, to make it unique? And I think right now we're in that state when fashion is about that sort of self-expression and the sort of like non-ordinary things. And you see also like people are just dressing however they want. Like
Yeah.
there's not like a set style, like, oh yeah, it's the early 2000s and then you do the like, no. Like you can dress like the 80s, you can dress like the 70s, you can dress like now, you can dress like, there's so many ways to dress up, and the sneakers is taking really that concept very good.
Yeah, and I think that's also the fun aspect about sneakers. There's a sneaker for everyone, and not everybody is going to like the same sneaker. So just pick the one you like. And if that's an ugly sneaker, so be it, because ugly sneakers are great.
Yeah.
I love the crazy colorways.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I
go
also
crazy
love
with
it
it.
too.
I think that's very important what you just said. It's a bit about everybody can be who they want to be. And fashion, I think, is one of the things where you can put this to the outside and present yourself in a certain way you want to present yourself. And of course, sneakers and fashion are a bit related. And I think, especially in the last years, that got more and more. Also, sneakers in high fashion and very crazy designs, let's call them like this again. But that's also that you always have different audiences, of course.
Yeah.
They are those people that always wear their white Air Forces and they are happy with that, and that's awesome. And then there are people that rock the Crocs cars in the streets, and that's also awesome. But you just have to find your place in there, and then you can be you, and everybody else can be them. But I think it's really about the how do you say that the different communities, the different target groups. Who likes what, and we as writers for sneakers and fashion, we have to kind of try to address all of those groups in once, and all of those target
for
groups
sure.
at one place, and that's a challenge, but also very nice to do.
it's
I
a fun
think.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember last podcast that we did, Flores from Fashion United, he was saying like, because he's a content manager, so he's like, what will you say to your brands that you're working with to make sure that the content that they do it is great? And he said something that is really in my head, and says, the thing that you have to think about is that the people that you're trying to sell this thing to or you're writing about is probably very much like you. So you should have that in mind first before trying to get on any cloud or anything like that. People that are reading what you want or that you're trying to sell to, they're probably like you because it's your product or it's your community or whatnot. But that's it for this episode of Wires and Cross. Subscribe on Spotify so you never miss any future uploads. Also follow us on all of our social medias, which you can find the link in the description of the episode. We're going to be uploading episodes every couple of weeks to continue to unveil the world of marketing one episode at a time. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Bye.